I'm not sure what kind of wood this is. It was in the cutoff bin at a woodcraft in Toledo a couple years ago. Brought it home, bought it on the cheap, made what I think is really quite a lovely drum shell. And looking, over a couple years of experience and looking at things, I believe it's tiger wood. Not 100% sure, but I believe it's tiger wood. Really hard, dense stuff. Should make a great drum shell. But my inexperience when I made this one resulted in a problem. Let me show you. 14-inch drum head and a drum shell that's like exactly, or maybe even slightly wider than a 14-inch diameter. So that's a problem. So what we're going to do is put this back on the outside rounding jig and bring it down to the proper external diameter. After that, I'm going to do inlaid re-rings and then get this down as thin as possible. I've got some beautiful bird's eye maple inside that's going to be the inlaid re-rings, and so that's what this project is. Fixing an old shell, installing some rings, making it a playable drum, and shipping it off to the buyer. Ah, perfect. It fits now. Made the stupid mistake of numbering when I only had 10 sections. I need 12. I have a total of 36, 3 rows. Duh. Numbering again. 1. Okay, got my fence set up. Got the blade at 10 degrees. 10 degrees from vertical. And yes, this is my fence because my fence is terrible, especially for short pieces, because this right here in the middle is very slightly narrower than at the ends. You can imagine the problems that causes. Someday I'll get a good saw. Anyway, the lower fence here is also useful because then I can come in from the side and my fingers aren't too close to the blade. Yes, they're still close to the blade, safety police, I know. I apologize if you're offended. Well, don't watch the video. Okay. Because we want the pretty grain, which is on this side of the board, to show up on the inside of the drum shell, these will be the top. This side will be the top, will be facing up as it goes to the table, so I take the bevel, because the bevel will go like that. And we want this to be on the inside. So here we go. Okay, jigged up. This is nice and centered. Runs pretty smooth and even. Which is good because I want to get as even a cut so I have as much thickness left on the inside as possible. Now we're shooting for a diameter of 13 1/4 inches, which means I need 6 5/8 here. And it's hard to see because that door is open. But I got an 1/8 of an inch, a little less than an 1/8 of an inch still to go. So I'm going to take a fairly heavy pass on the first two. And then we're going to get, because the final mark that I want on the radius should be halfway up the diameter of that threaded rod. Let's give it a shot. This is where I have to be really careful. So I've got a couple of fences set up that I can adjust just by moving an outer screw just a little bit. And that will let the shell travel along the inside, travel along that cutting edge. I can raise that cutting edge to the depth that I need. But I have to be really careful because I can't go too far. I really hope this doesn't go too deep. It's going to be close. It's the next day. I had to stop because I got a little frustrated. Ran into a problem yesterday. It was kind of anticipated, which makes it all the more frustrating. I thought I did what I needed to do to avoid it. It's not a serious problem. I know how to fix it, but I just wished my my accuracy was a little bit better. So this is it. Okay, here's the re-ring. There's the recess. In it goes. It goes in too easily, and I've got a 1/16 of an inch of slop, which means if it's centered perfectly within the slop, it's a 36 inch or a 32nd of an inch all the way around. Now I figured out how to address that. I didn't figure it out right away. Sort of came to me while I was messing with something, and if I put on a layer of glue, very thin layer of glue all the way around, and then I roll it in the shavings, wonderful shavings there by the way, nice long fibers, it will fit exactly the way it's supposed to. Now there are a few spots on here, because I thought of this late, I need to add a little bit more glue and a little bit more shaving around here, but that keeps it nice and snug. It will also have wood fibers reinforcing the glue rather than just glue, which I think is ideal. The alternative, apart from flooding with glue or using epoxy, I really didn't want to use epoxy, would be to use a veneer. It'd be a very, very thin veneer. I'd have to find the veneer. And while I think that would be pretty if planned, that's not what we were going for. So this will be indiscernible from the joint will disappear with the wood fibers like that. So that's what we're going to go ahead and do.